Inspired by the life of Nelson Mandela, Live to Lead is a 7-episode series of interviews with some of the world's most respected and effective leaders. It's a Nelson Mandela Foundation project created and directed by Geoff Blackwell and executively produced by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, the series features conversations with anti-apartheid activist and former Justice of the Constitutional Court, Albie Sachs, and the World Cup winning Springbok captain Siya Kolisi, alongside the likes of former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and climate change youth activist Greta Thunberg. Let's take a look.
Take one. At every turn in my life, I thought, do I really want this? And if the answer is yes, you find a way.
This was inspired by Nelson Mandela, who once said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived.
It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead."
Leadership mainly means by example. We do what we see way, way, way more than what we're told.
We actually have to make a choice to do uncomfortable things.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, we will never forgive you.
The work that we do off the field is the most important.
Don't follow your dreams, follow your life. Your dreams follow you.
As leaders, we have the keys to create a sense of security and a sense of hope.
It's about people who have made brave choices.
To fight for change and to become leaders.
And giving inspiration to the rest of us. To live, to lead.
Well, to tell us more about this Netflix series, I'm joined in studio now by the CEO, the boss man himself of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Silo Hatang. Mr. Hatang, good afternoon. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. And
I guess we can still say compliments.
Compliments.
This week we can still say that.
I think you can do it until April.
Welcome to today. Thank you very much. What led Nelson Mandela Foundation to come up with this concept, and where does it come from?
Yeah, so its origins is actually in my office. We were sitting there with Geoff Blackwell and Ruth Hope Day with Vern Harris. The four of us were just talking about Madiba as a leader. And a thought came through about writing a series of books. You'd remember the small one that I gifted you last year. And that book started off to say, if we were to do this, what did we do maybe to then get others to participate? And Geoff and Ruth then came up with the idea that maybe we should try and get other names of people. In total, we get about 16 people who participated. And its origins then was to say, what is the essence of this project? The essence was, let's give hope. We're faced with the sense that in the world, we're losing hope. Leaders are just not leading. And you find that there are those who are leading, but they are never given a voice. And that's why the project was then...
it's taking you quite some time to get here. How long did it take to produce?
Sure.
I mean, the series that's on now on Netflix got 7 episodes. You might be pleased to hear I've watched 6 of them, except one. I haven't watched one yet. And I think that's the one with Gloria Steinem. I've watched all the others. But how long did it take to put together?
Sure. It was a couple of years. So by the time we went through COVID, the idea was already there. The book, the first book was done within about 6 months thereof, which was mid-2020. And then from that period until last year, we were then doing the production itself. Came Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, where we then said, as we were thinking, how do we make this international? Because initially it was going to be a South African, mainly South African focused project. We then approached them and said, would you like to partner with us? And they brought Netflix on board. They helped with some editorial work. And so it's easy to say maybe 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's put together very nicely. I mean, I couldn't stop watching after you had made us aware of Leave to Lead. I mean, from somebody like Ruth Ginsburg, I mean, and she was actually towards the end of her life at the time, I think, because she was suffering from cancer. She was dealing with cancer. But the stories, I mean, if you don't know much about Siya Kolisi and you watch that episode about Siya Kolisi and how he articulates his role, not just as a Springbok captain, but in the field, but why it's important to do more off the field.
And I think that's the focus of this series. We're trying to show that your circumstances, where you were born, does not determine your destination. Your destiny is not determined by your birth, the circumstances of your birth. In fact, sometimes it becomes a springboard that ensures that you can do better, to try build a world that says no child should go through what I went through. And we went with Siya, for example, with Siya Kolisi to his hometown in the Eastern Cape. And the most fascinating thing is he went to the families that helped feed him at some point. Now they were desperately in need of food in 2020. Here he is saying, I used to knock at your door. Today, I'm here to give you
know
food.
What I like about each of the episodes, it's they go back to where these leaders come from and what they were faced with as young people. I mean, Ruth Ginsburg, a Jewish woman, being a woman and Jewish in America at the time, and all kinds of things, and growing up during the McCarthy years, where if you were communist, you were supposed to be done away with. And then Siya, going back to where he comes from, and similarly with Albie Sachs. I mean, and one of the very important moments is the capture of the bomb, the car bomb blast on Julius Nyerere Avenue outside his block of flats on the 7th of April 1988.
You know, you're clearly showing off that you watched these with a sense of heart as well. And we are hoping that those who watch them will have the same sense of appreciation. I don't know if you also noticed how we try to deal away with the sense that title matters when it comes to leaders. Brian Stevenson, who comes through as a person,
story.
What an incredible story. Here's a person who just sees injustice and says, what can I do to deal with this injustice?
Did you, as the Nelson Mandela Foundation, help Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to identify some of these international leaders? I mean, Jacinda Ardern, I mean, the New Zealand Premier, I mean, she really stands high above shoulders in terms of leadership, and how she dealt with COVID-19 as a small island, New Zealand, is a marvel.
You know, what we did was we developed a long list. Out of the 7 that we have, we managed to produce 16. But actually, in total, we had about 30-odd number of people that we produced between the 4 of us. By the time Prince Harry and Meghan Markle come on board, we had already done most of the work of it, but they didn't just put a stamp on it. They also helped with the production work that had to go into the final product that you see. So each one of them, we try and say to the viewer, you can be the leader that you are desperately wanting out of others. Okay. You don't have to be a politician necessarily. You can do that in every station where you have. I think I shared this with you when you came to visit the Nelson Mandela Foundation, that Madiba had this belief that it doesn't matter what station in life you have, you can make a difference. Whether you are a nurse, a teacher, a student, make a difference in that corner. And that's what you find with all these leaders. Yeah. And with Jacinda, the Prime Minister, an incredible thing that we were trying to also portray is how there's gentleness to leadership. There's a moment where you have to be hard. And you see her showing that hardness. But then you also have a moment where you have to be gentle. And when there's a terrorist attack, there you see the gentleness of her leadership, including with COVID as well.
Yeah, but what I took out of that episode with her is that she lives by one word that drives her: kindness as a leader. But there has been some criticism in terms of the documentary, especially the use of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Ndilega Mandela, one of the grandchildren, has been interviewed, I think in Australia, and she was saying for her there's no comparison between Harry and Meghan Markle's struggle and the royal family and her grandfather, Tata Madiba. How do you respond to that?
Sadly, I had an almost hour-long call with Sis Ndilega. She sent me the transcript of what she said in terms of a voice note. It's unfortunate that we have such gutter journalism, where they took away what they wanted from what she said. And when you listen to the voice note, she says she admires the two of them because their struggle actually is almost like Madiba's struggle when he left home. Remember when Madiba left, when he was almost going to be chosen a wife for, where they were going to choose a wife for him. He then ran away to come here to Alex. And she then uses that example to say, here are two people who are facing an institution just like Madiba did. And she then said, I admire them. And I hope that their struggles continue to show us that we don't have to always have the shadow of an institution.
Yeah, there is a quote I've seen where she says she admires them, but she points out, and I just want your view as we conclude, that the issue of, while you've supported the initiative, but she says she's worried about people stealing her grandfather's quotes for years and using them as if they are their own. The way the series starts, every episode starts with either Harry or Meghan quoting Madiba. Are you comfortable with that?
Very comfortable, because in fact, in the voice note, she says, people find inspiration in Madiba's words. Why shouldn't they find the same inspiration? And I think, unfortunately, this kind of series also says to us, Ntate Moyane, that we need to be showing that leadership also comes with dealing with fake news for what it is. That we need to also be saying, she said she's desperately trying to deal with issues where the commercialization of Madiba's image is used in Dishweshwe, for example. But then she says, in this instance, it's a storm in a teacup, because here it's a leadership program.
Okay, are we going to see more Live to Lead?
We are hoping so, and I'm going to share this interview with them to say you'll need more. So hopefully both Netflix and our other partners will then go back to the 16 and will produce more.
Yeah, at a high level, this is going to be the 10th year that Tata Madiba passed on the 5th of December in 2013. High level and very brief, if you may, what are the plans of the foundation to commemorate the 10th anniversary?
We're going to hopefully in February start off with a program that will then outline, that starts in Feb. Every month we'll have an activation. Most of it will be focused on climate change. As you know, that the lecture was focused on that, will be focused on that, but also in our early childhood development work. So you will see in most communities, we'll be saying, we're doing developmental work. It's not charity work. And we will be saying, help us. Let's journey together to make Madiba's 10 years meaningful.
We'll talk again very soon as you outline the details of the 10th anniversary of the passing of Nelson Mandela. That's Silo Hatang, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nelson Mandela Foundation.